quit and move on. That's their pattern. The next person, they work really hard. It's exciting in the beginning. It gets a little difficult and they stress out. They get tense. They're like, I'm going to break through this. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to fight my way to the other side. I don't care what it takes. But their life is always full of tension, thinking that the result is what's going to make them happy when it doesn't. And then finally, what he calls a master, someone who learned to enjoy the journey just as much as the result, where they have a goal, they have daily actions that take them there, and they say, hey, it's going to arrive when it arrives. I'm going to enjoy this journey every step of the way. And what's funny is when you fall in love with the journey, you learn that the rapid result you're achieving is the journey just as much as the thing you want at the end of the journey. So all of a sudden, something happens and it leads into what we call those four principles, the foundational principles, which if you want to achieve rapid results, you have to set a foundation. And I call it the foundational freedom formula. What provides you freedom and fulfillment in your life. So to transition to that real quick, there's four principles. The first principle is principle number one, which you have to be the message you want to share with the world, says Gandhi. You have to be the message you want to take to life, meaning you have to live your passion. And it doesn't matter if your passion is cooking, learning, growing, traveling, sewing, singing, dancing, whatever your passion is, learning, whatever that passion is, you have to live it. And when you're living your passion, how you know you're living your passion is three things happen. Number one, time disappears. Like a whole day can go by and you don't even notice because
Yeah,
you're
you're
so,
just in the zone.
yeah, you're so immersed with what you're doing. Number two, you disappear. You stop thinking about yourself. You stop thinking about, I'm hungry, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm this. You're just like in the moment. And finally, number three, nothing else matters. Meaning you can go days just focused on it and you're so in it that everything just flies right by you. It doesn't matter. So number one, you gotta live your passion. Number two, you have to figure out how do you add value through that passion to everyone else around you. Number three, you got to figure out how do you monetize that value. And what's fun is I thought in the beginning there were only three principles here. And I went out and I lived these three principles. I figured out what my passion was. My passion was people, helping and serving people live a better life. I figured out how to add value through it, which was coaching. So people adding value through coaching, and I figured out how to monetize the coaching. And I went from $25,000 in credit card debt to literally within 8 months of starting my business, I made over $100,000 in income. And that was a rapid result. That was very quickly. And here's what I learned. The way I did it was I had my little website. I was selling, a couple coaching packages a month, really exciting. And all of a sudden I got a joint venture partnership, which accelerated my results. And within that partnership, I went from signing up 1 to 5 clients a month to all of a sudden signing 20 to 25 clients up in one day. So I went from like, $2,000 a month in income to $25,000 in a day, like that. And all of a sudden, my business really grew. We did the event a couple times, and my business went from 5 clients to 52 clients within a couple months. So I was making the goal, I was achieving the result rapidly, but I figured out there was a fourth principle. Because when you have 52 coaching clients, you wake up at 5:45 in the morning, you work out, you do a 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock coaching call. You do a quick 30-minute lunch. You come back and do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably a 7 o'clock coaching call. Get done at 8 or 9, do some paperwork, read a book and go to bed. And that was not the life I had dreamed of. That was me getting out of an old job to get into a new job that ended up giving me the same situation as before. And I had more money, but I didn't have freedom. So I figured out principle number four was you have to set up the entire system to give you the freedom and fulfillment you desire. And the fulfillment you enjoy every moment, which I didn't have the freedom, and the freedom is to be able to go when you want, where you want, however often you want. If people listening, if you've ever read the 4 Hour Work Week, it's having the ability to live that lifestyle where yes, you work hard, yes, you deliver value, yes, you make a difference, yes, you get monetize it and make it. Sorry, there's something flew by. You monetize, you get paid for it, and you actually have the freedom to have a life to take kids around the world when they're young and show them the seven wonders of the world. You have the ability to go learn jujitsu in Brazil for 3 months for fun. We were just talking about we have a cruise coming up in December where we're doing 25 days, 10 countries. Then we have another one we're teaching on board in April in Europe where we're doing 15 days in 6 countries. And then they invited us back for a second part of that trip, which means we're going to be about 30 days or more on board this ship. And we're like, shoot, what do we do in between? And because we've set up our lifestyle and business around freedom, we said, well, why don't we just rent an apartment in either London or Paris for a couple weeks, hang out there, do our business from there, and then jump back on the ship and teach the second voyage. No big deal. And, 3 years ago, that would have sounded like a fantasy that wouldn't really be possible. This day and age, because I followed those 4 principles and I've set up my system to have fulfillment and freedom, renting an apartment in Paris for a couple weeks to hang out between voyages, jump back on a cruise ship and get paid to travel the world and help people change their lives is totally possible.
All right.
4 principles of a foundation are set. Again, repeat them one more time. Live your passion, add value through your passion, monetize the value, set it up for freedom and fulfillment. So that's the foundation.
I like that. So a lot of the people that are watching this because they want to create that freedom, but I know that there are some people out there that are still in that stage where, hey, I need to monetize this, or I want to monetize this, and I don't know how to monetize my passion. Now, how do you go through that with your clients or in your own life?
Absolutely. It depends on the passion.
All right.
You got to get specific. You got to say, okay, what are the unique ways to monetize that value? And I'll tell them most of the time they're so concerned with monetizing the passion, they're not paying attention to how do I add value through this passion.
So the first step or the second step.
The second step is how do you add value? Because I'll tell you this, you start adding an extraordinary amount of value to people's lives around you, they will start to pay for it because they don't want to ever lose it. Think of this. If you went into a standard job with a standard company in sales and you went out and you produced $1 million more per month in income than the company's ever achieved by themselves, imagine if you left for a month, what they would do.
Oh, they'd freak out.
They'd freak out. We just lost $1 million this month. Where is he? Get him back in here. Tell him we need him. I don't care what it takes. You tell him we'll give him a bonus. Same thing. Whether it's dancing, singing, art, whatever. You have to figure out how do you add that much unique value to people's lives through it that they will freak out if you're not there. I have clients that have been with me since I started my company on day 1 for 3 years now, and every year when it comes time to renew, they send me an email with all their credit card details before I even have to ask. That's a good sign for adding value. Like, they're not questioning, well, I wonder if it's worth it, and I have to go sell them back into it. They're like, here, man, just swipe my card. I'm back in. No problem. 100%. Let's keep going. That's how I know I'm adding a tremendous value to their life and business. So you got to add value, and that's so much more important than monetize. And you're right. That's what most people are trying to figure out. How do I monetize my passion? How do I monetize my passion? Instead of how do I fall in love with my clients' needs and use my passion to fulfill their needs? Because when you fall in love with your product versus falling in love with your clients, you're in a danger zone. You have to fall in love with your clients' needs over your product. Most people love their thing they've created so much that they're like, this is amazing. This is the thing. This is what the world needs. This is what you want. Instead of saying, what do you want? And let me go create it for you out of what I'm good at and then bring it back to you and give you exactly what you're asking for. Instead of creating something and taking it to the world, ask the world what they need and find a way to deliver, but deliver in a way that lines up with what you're passionate about. That's the flipping philosophy. Now, how do you monetize it? There's tons of ways to monetize it these days. I have a friend who he just wrote a book called The App Empire. And it's funny because if you ever read his story, it's very simple. He got in a car accident. He was $100,000 in debt and medical bills, zero money. His background was real estate. And a buddy of his came and said, hey, you need to get into the app world. And he was like, what the heck is an app world? And he says, download them on the iPhone and the Android and all these things. It's an app. And he's like, okay. And in this day and age, we know what it is. But 5 years ago, no one knew. And so he's like, okay, well, how do you do it? And he didn't know how to do it. He didn't know how to program. He doesn't know how to design. But he started looking for ideas of what people really wanted, what they needed, what they were desiring. And he hired a team for $1,800 that he borrowed from his stepdad, and he built his first app.
All right, I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to like, share, and comment below. Subscribe to this channel for more interviews, and if you want to go further and be live on the interviews, you can go to mmt.tv/live to find out how. Like on Facebook and follow on Twitter to ask your questions, and be sure to get on the mailing list. go to mmt.tv to get access to all the things that are not contained in these interviews. All the links are mentioned below, and until next time, break the rules, change the game, and be a rock star.